Hello, Doctor Who fans. I am Doctor Who Commentator, here to provide you my personal fan commentary on Doctor Who. And let's jump right in with the giggle. So here we are, Soho 1925. Had to turn that really down, excuse me. That music was just too loud. Maybe that's a bit too quiet. There we go. Maybe a bit. Everything you could want. Now, it's an interesting thing. Right off the bat, you've got Neil Patrick Harris using a German accent. Rusty Davis has pointed out that there is actually a very real reason he's done this, and it is all to do with how the toy maker's original costume is pretty problematic today, of a white man in Chinese garb, but also with the name Celestial, which I didn't know, and Davis didn't know. I always assumed it was actual Star Celestial thing, but no, it was a word for Chinese people back then. Anyway, obviously they don't want to do that, but they wanted to include elements of racism in the toy maker because he's a villain, obviously. And so that's why they've done that stereotypical German accent. And obviously this is meant to sound sinister, but I assumed that Stooky Bill, the implication is that Stooky Bill was a real person and the entire family were real people that the toy maker changed. And again, telling a non-white man he must be used to sunnier climates. And I can only apologise for this buzzing again, assuming you're hearing it. I figured out what it was, but I can't really fix it right now. Stooky Bill's invented the television. And it must be said, apparently Russell's initial idea was actually about Stooky Bill. He wanted to he was researching Stooky Bill when making Nolly, and he thought that would be a good villain in a way, but as he was progressing he realised a puppet wasn't that interesting, and eventually he found his way to the toy maker, which I'm glad he did, because oh my god, I honestly wanted to see the toy maker back ever since the show came back. He was always one of the more terrifying sounding villains. Obviously I've only ever seen the one surviving episode, but he always, just reading about him was just so creepy. His whole concept, his whole godlike character of a concept was just so creepy. I thought, God, to see him back in some way. And I'm so glad Davis did for this special. But the only thing that confuses me is, did Stooky Bill actually have that sort of a thing? Could he actually laugh? Ha 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 ha! Oh, my voice's gone. Throat's gone, sorry. Maybe turn it down. The Giggle, written by Rusty Davis. Okay, and now we're in the present day. And it's such a disappointment that looking at this, I assumed they had everything they needed with Bernard Cribbins, but looking at this, it becomes very apparent. Oh, they clearly wanted him for this too, but he wasn't. It just wasn't well. It's such a shame. They had to use a stand-in. Okay, you can't drive. Sorry, that's actually is bugging me. Okay. But all the time. I've always been right. That's social media in a nutshell. It's one of the original notes I made for this episode. When going on the Omega Files, I said, the world has now become social media. That camera angle's bad, excuse me. And there's the guy. A lot of women were liking, and there was some notion that he was going to be important. And I just talked over the one bit Wilf said, which of course was just archive footage from Bernard Cribbs, but still. And of course, there was the toy maker, top hat, and he didn't even Doctor didn't even recognize him. Right. And again, notice jokes have been done, but why are U.N.I.T in Avengers Tower? Hey. Can't remember her name, but hey. Kate! Yeah, U.N.I.T's meant to be a secret government organization. Okay, she's for robots, insects, yetis, and clones. Brigadier faced that. Where were these stories? Unless they're the Big Finish stories, I don't know those yet. I'm working on it. Mel! Oh, so nice to see her again. Although I must admit her inclusion was a bit underwhelming. Okay. Can't exactly understand more. Yes. Again, the world has become social media. Yep. Well, that's dangerous. I know it was Johnson's government that decided to have that whole podium room thing, but it is still Tory blue. That's cutting it quite fine, Davis. The Flinks. So, this is a new one. And probably not going to be utilised any further. Now, oh yes, so the Z-Dex. This is where we get the explanation of the Z-Dex. That's a very good point. You can kind of tell though that Davis was starting from a completely separate story, because while initially this is good, it kind of just doesn't really factor in anywhere else with the overall story of the toy maker. So it's clearly he ended up expanding from a completely different origin. It is a bit annoying that I can already see the certain subsection of the internet blaming this on social justice, claiming he's expressed social justice worries, although that same subsection will completely ignore that. Because they hate everything about Doctor Who now. Oh. And now she's back. Is she okay? Yeah, it's okay. Ooh. Yeah.
Absolutely no need.
It's okay. Weren't you, sort of? Everyone around the world. Nope. Natural thing. That's interesting. No. So that means every one of the Doctor's companions should be okay. So why don't we have all of them at U.N.I.T? Hey, Trillian Wells again. So many years since we saw her. Why? I genuinely don't know. Maybe they couldn't find any other use for her? And typical. The Doctor's current companion recognises what it is. Satellite. Woohoo! So everyone is now connected. Supposedly. That I find a bit hard to believe. Surely there are some Aboriginal tribes somewhere that don't have any kind of connection. It's unrealistic. That's not who I am. I'll start a whole other conversation. Ooh. La 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 la. And suddenly they all recognised it. Yeah. Yeah. But shouldn't the Doctor also know? Because he's been on Earth long enough. Nope. Yeah. What is it? How? Of all the things you could have found that one? Ooh. Does that image even still exist, though? I'm genuinely curious. Because that would be interesting if that recording still exists. It's a puppet! Which again makes me somewhat think this was intended as something completely different. To every screen. It's a fun concept, but a bit far-fetched. Uh-uh. But who put it there? Ooh. Someone can. The doctor knows. Or at least he knows who it is. He knows an entity. Yeah, exactly. That is kind of part of the problem. Yeah, that's very much because of the human race. Yeah, no one needs help hating each other. His toys. Yeah, you can do that. Need permission. But of course, he's president of the world during times of crisis. And shouldn't they all be going down, though? It's gonna just be like that. I just say that because of what happens later. They all seem to be on the same level. Hello. Quick. Hey, mentioned glitz. Yeah, that sounds like Savlon glitz. Of all his travels, he doesn't know what a Zingo is? No. No family of her own. Oh, okay. That was me not paying attention. And now... and... so now Donna's been able to get her own self a job out of this. 5 weeks holiday. Well, most of us just get 4 weeks. Sweet 17. Hey, the TARDIS. So back to June 1925. Where the origin came from. Sorry, got a stretch bit. What about her? There's lots of companions he hasn't mentioned. Hey, foreshadowing. And, okay, so I did talk over it. New fact here. The Doctor is now 1 billion years old. Well, okay, that's different. I'm genuinely curious. Is this that the Doctor now realises that they're much older than they are because... I was just thinking about the whole timeless child bit. I mean, we now know the Doctor's many, many more incarnations than they realised. So, is that it? But they've now realised they're much older than they thought? Now it's confronting the toy maker. Hey, so Neil Patrick Harris can juggle. This is exactly why I wanted this character back, just the whole sinister nature of him. He is creepy, he is everything. The scarier things aren't really the monsters with teeth, they aren't the predators, the xenomorphs, they're the things we think of from our childhoods as something safe turned something sinister. He has told others to do that. It's not like he's never told his companions to go back to the TARDIS. He knows who he is. Ooh. Hey, colorized version. Needed to use that up, since they took the time to colorize it. Don't, it's what he wants you to do! Okay, why do something so obvious? You went into his domain. You know he wants to do something like that. I genuinely don't know whether that was a stupid idea or not. Or were they trapped the moment they entered his shop? I have no idea. Keep moving forward. Sideways. Can't go backwards. But that is all a very good point. She's highlighting the very obvious fact that everything else tends to revolve around a sense of logic. But this doesn't. Which is what makes Toymaker so great. He defies everything about logic. Gah. Now, my friend William was actually, from the Omega Files, if you watch the our Omega Files podcast on this, he is annoyed that he seems to have not acknowledged the Big Finish talked about the Toymaker, but regardless of whether you consider those canon or not, the one thing that's even more a bit stupid is he's talking like that episode, the original, the Celestial Toymaker episode, Adventure, was the only time the Doctor had met the Toymaker, and actually, even then, it was established that the Doctor and Toymaker had met before. It was a whole notion, but there was this eternal battle between the two of them. It's also worth noting that at that time it was considered that the Toymaker was a more powerful version of one of the Doctor's people. Or the idea was touted that he was one of the Doctor's people because the concept of Time Lord hadn't been invented yet. He'll survive. I'll save you, excuse me. Yeah. Oh, her dad. who they didn't want to recast after he died. Could appreciate that. He can still win. He says, it is a bit of an illogical thing from Dr. Vo to think that odds are I'm not going to beat him. Doesn't quite make sense. Okay, why would you close the door behind you? I mean, why the hell? You should have left it open for Donna. Just stay there. Yeah, she gone here. Oh, that's not good. How can both of them be so foolish? Oh, there he is. What's toy paid the price? This is conflicting. I mean, except for the only episode from Toy Maker I've seen is the one surviving Celestial Toy Maker episode, but I am aware of the bits and pieces of the previous. I was never quite clear, or rather I could never quite understand, were all those other dolls in the Toy Maker's possession supposed to be the challenge Stephen and Dodo were? Were they supposed to be the various other people that the Toy Maker captured? That lost at his games? Watching this, I'm assuming that is what the situation was. But again, God, that's why this is so scary. I can imagine so many kids were scared watching this episode. And of course that's the image they used for the trailer, which I think was a good choice to explain the true imposing power of the Toy Maker. And even that. And again, this segment, even more creepy dolls. This whole episode is just so dark and horrific, and I love it. It is a proper horror. Stooky Bill's wife. Stooky Sue. Oh, she was Stooky Sue? Again, it's not quite clear. Were they supposed to be people that the Toy Maker just changed into dolls, or were they really his own inventions? Either way, creepy puppet babies coming from the sky, ceiling, excuse me. Still attached with string though. Oh, attack dolls. Attack puppets. Although, I do quite wonder what exactly were they gonna do. Apparently Catherine Tate actually said she was told that the set will be destroyed before the dolls are, or something. And apparently they were right. There you are. Pretty confident they were the same. Just a bit perplexed about that. They were pretty confident that they got the right people, given what happened last special. Ooh. Again, further acknowledgement of this is his domain. He controls everything. Oh, now saying what happens. This is actually a big thing that, again, Brian of the Omega Files talks about. He always talks about how so many companions dying and then flicking the chicken switch as, oh, they never really die. oh, now they're not dead, they're more powerful than ever. But this has frankly highlighted they have died. Well, that's alright, but again, so, yeah, they may have come back, or in some context, but they still died because of the Doctor. And okay, listening to my files, some of the others were talking to me about, well, Katarina, Sarah Kingdom, and Adric. You could have mentioned them. I'm not sure. I mean, the whole point was dying, then coming back, just so you could have the well, that's all right then point. But although I find it interesting that the Doctor couldn't even defend that one. The other ones he defended, but this one he couldn't defend, so he just immediately went to challenging him to a game. And it turns out Neil Patrick Harris is a magician and he can genuinely shuffle. Oh, so he was involved in the Timeless Child? Oh, and the Master. Ooh. Now, there's so much of it, because he's mentioned the Master in his gold tooth, but now there's an entity, the one who waits. I remember rewatching this, I actually checked back and said, wait, did he mention any pronouns in this? And no, not a he, not a she. So, and the one who waits, honestly, the only name that comes with that is the girl who waited, which is of course Amy. But it couldn't be Amy. She's not that powerful. The idea that she's so powerful that the toy maker didn't want to tangle with them? Well, to be fair, he does kind of rig them in his favour. He does kind of rig the games in his favour. Yeah. Oh, there it is. So high card wins. Ace is a high card. The king. Oh. What would have been his prize though? But again, it's mentioned in that Celestial Toymaker episode that the Doctor had met before. Maybe I need to do more research. Did they actually face him or did he escape? Oh, and now his domain is collapsing. Not good. Get out of there! Hey, it's like Dan's house. Winner takes all. Okay. Got the gamma-like beam. Got the beam set up. All good. Mel very apt. One thing certainly worth noticing, didn't think about it before until someone pointed out, Mel isn't screaming in this. Which is actually a good point. She probably doesn't have the lungs for that anymore, but still. I mean, I mean, there's always the stereotype of companions being picked for their scream, which I always hate because it completely ignored anything else of their character. But it's somewhat suggested they had no other character. But Bonnie Langford actually was cast for her scream. But of course, as Dr. just said, alright, they'll get everyone sorted. So that was just a link in the chain. So what was the point of blowing it up? Surely that link needed to be there to begin with. And this is where I'm probably going to have to mute for safety. Maybe in space. Oof. Something truly that powerful.
What's that supposed to mean? You think life is a balance between
No. Someone godlike, and now I'm muting just because, yeah, this is honestly my favourite scene of the episode, but I don't want to risk the copyright strike. But nonetheless. Oh, blimey. And apparently Neil Patrick Harris, he isn't a trained dancer, surprisingly, even though he is really good. But and it must be said, when the BBC asked the Spice Girls, are you okay? Can we use your song? Did they realise it was going to be used in such a sinister-looking scene? But this scene was just so fun and so terrifying at the same time. The fact that he just kills people like it's a game. He has no care. He's no care in the world. Just nothing but mass. He can turn bullets into roses. He is truly unstoppable. He is truly powerful. And there's nothing anyone can... And with one foul swoop, he's proved there's nothing anyone can do. Other people have compared that bit with the roses to American Beauty. I've not seen that, and I don't want to for various reasons. Okay. Okay, there we go. So, back with that. Because he can. That's just everything he can do.
How does he do it? If I told you he manipulates atoms with the power of thought, would you believe it?
Yeah.
He does?
But that's not what he does. He can just manipulate time and space to his will. This is a bit off, because is he a bit much for a sci-fi character? Not really. He's similar to Q from Star Trek, as far as I'm concerned. He's got the gun. And naturally he has to have an airline uniform. And now he's just partly destroyed U.N.I.T. What do you think?
I think they're still falling.
How high is that tower?
I don't understand. Why you're so
What don't you understand? Oh, don't get him angry.
bullets into flowers. Think of the good you
Yeah, he doesn't care.
tell me why you don't. Full well. This is merely a face concealing a vastness that will never cease existing.
Oof.
And are nothing to it. All that exists is to win or to lose.
not that great.
Full well that I've had many faces,
Yeah.
containing something far more.
And many even you don't know about.
So come with me.
Oof. He's actually gonna sacrifice his own freedom.
We can take your games back to the stars.
Back to his universe, better.
Cosmos. We can be Celeste.
Hey, had to get that name in there somehow.
Time Lord and Toymaker. Infinite games.
Infinite games and infinite possibilities.
And yet, I have fallen in love with humanity. This world is the ultimate playground.
Ooh.
All of the sports, the matches, the medals, the gambling, the anger, and the children shackled to their bedrooms with the joysticks and the
Okay, that's really not that bad.
falling upon other bricks.
The idea of kids playing games all the time.
Mind games. Oh,
Mind games.
so see the deceit and the control. You make me dizzy. I am in no hurry to leave this place.
No, of course he isn't.
We can play Grandma's footsteps
Well, someone got inspired by Squid Game.
and off-ground touch.
I have no idea what off-brown touch is.
Shooting ducks.
Then I kind of know.
Had soldier
The companion, the soldier,
or
scientist, and the orphan. Needed to find some word name. Yes, the fight is with him. Oh, the weird thing is, I genuinely did not see that coming.
I played the second game with this doctor. Your own rules have decreed. Play the third game with the next doctor.
So he does very much want to play games with the Doctor. Here it is. Also, we think.
You can do what you like to me. I'm gonna be with it. So am I.
Yeah, good on him. Handmaidens. I can't even tell if that's sexist or not. But I guess it would work.
Every single one of you is fantastic.
Oh. So good. Come on. Just when you think it's gonna happen. Okay. Still there. You think he could have just cut his losses and stayed there, but he knew there was something going on.
What do you mean?
Pull.
Just pull each way. I don't know. Feels different this time.
Peter Davidson's line. Okay, yep, still regenerating. Why? By regeneration. First time ever. And he's wearing half of clothes. Oh, his leg got there. Never noticed that the first time around. Oh. I'll be honest, I have mixed feelings about the bio-regeneration, because it's just a thing, I can't really be angry about it. I think it was a really clever way of getting us quickly used to Shooty's Doctor, because obviously most of the time we only ever get 30 seconds to get to know this new Doctor. But now we got to know him quite well. Or, well, no, we got to know him quite quickly now. at a much longer level. But on the other hand, we don't really have the big goodbye to the previous Doctor that we usually have.
Still beautiful.
Do you come in a range of colours?
Yes. Can interrupt.
Was that racist? I don't know.
Time Lords.
No, it probably isn't.
Dives and doubles. Dives and doubles. And doubles for 100
Oh,
years.
hang on, you have no guarantee that that's going to happen.
Dying over and over again. And I'll never get bored because I
Challenge you to a game. Woohoo! They'll both challenge him.
I'm the Doctor. And I'm the According to your rules, you can't say no.
But it's not like we haven't had multiple stories, I get it. It's just, this is being done differently. The same Doctor existing at the same point in time.
No exceptional challenge.
And the usual rules of temporal occurrence wouldn't apply because they are literally the same entity at the same time.
Nature of the games. Do you think a grand can cause me to shiver? Maybe it's the guardians of time and space and strengthen into voodoo.
But that's a big bit of continuity! He was able to shrink the Guardians into voodoo dolls! That's why we haven't had the white or black Guardian.
Simple game, really, but I think
Whoa! And he's got it. Trouble is, why are the Doctors throwing it to each other? Doesn't really work when it's the Doctors doing it. Oh. Which one? Yep. Technically, it would still be. That would only affect one of them, surely. He's still got 2 for each other. Oh, back and forth, back and forth. Hey, that was a clever move. Though, how the toy maker would lose, I genuinely have no idea. I got it. How many takes do they have to do to get that to work? Oh, dropped it.
we won.
You won. Best 2 out of 3.
No, but I think you'll find best of 3. My prize
Oh.
is to banish you from existence.
A word which confused me, because the toy maker is immortal, until he has finally realised, oh, he's being folded into his toy box. Okay. Ooh, begging for his life now. Now, that isn't ominous. Phrase, my legions are coming. And I was a bit confused what it was, but Davis has actually sort of kind of explained it in the podcast. The official Doctor Who podcast, that this is in relation to the various godlike entities that have appeared through the years. So, like Zutek, Fenric, the gods of Ragnarok. So, it really is a question, who of those are coming? They are the ones who are coming. Which ones? I don't know. We're gonna have to wait to find out. Simpson needed some kind of cheering up. He's got him. Several people died. By the way, oh, and a nice throwback to Last of the Time Lords. Someone taking the gold tooth with the Master in it. A woman's hand, just like before. Getting a bit derivative now, but okay. Two doctors. Well, technically, TARDIS is meant to have 6 pilots, so. It's running on fumes. So one's moving on, the other is retired.
That doctor that first met the toy maker never ever stopped. Put on trial, exile, key to time, all the
Put on trial, exile, key to time. Adric. How often do they even mention Adric now? Because they mentioned him in Power of the Doctor.
I loved him. And Rose.
Hmm.
But the Time Lord, Pandora, Mavic Chen.
Even Mavic Chen, they've mentioned that. And I completely talked over.
We didn't stop for a second.
I talked over Gods of Ragnarok now, but talked over Sarah Jane as well, who Davis has now finally acknowledged within the series is dead. Good. I'm glad you've done that. Oh, obviously it's not good she died, but I'm glad they finally acknowledged it within the show. I figured that was important. No. And that's okay. You can live by just staying in one place. Which is a bit of a thing, because, spoiler, the whole thing is supposed to be that the Doctor is now living a quiet life with Donna's family. It's a bit hard to believe, though, because if you remember the Power of 3, he struggled to just settle down. He always has to keep moving. And I am left with, I said about my thoughts about the bi-generation. One question I have is, can the 14th Doctor still regenerate? It's not quite clear. I'm not sure if Davis has made that clear or not. I did find Davis's Twitter and I have asked, but he hasn't responded because I don't think he looks at that Twitter. He only did it for the Who in Lockdown thing. Can never let the TARDIS go. By regenerations never happen. He just worked it out. Hey, the Toymaker's world still exists.
What if the Toymaker's dimension just for a few seconds in a state of play?
Come on, everyone, get out. He doesn't need to get rid of a TARDIS. Don't know if it'll work.
What for? We won the game. Get a prize, honey.
Okay, get a prize, honey. 2 TARDISes! I will make a thing just on that honey line. Actually, no, I'll get to it later. Exactly the same. Except wheelchair accessible.
Chair accessible.
You finally caught up with the 21st century.
Yeah. Why didn't you have that with K9? Anyway, that bit where he said, honey, get a prize, honey. Okay, Shooty, I know you've come out as queer, and you've only said queer because you don't want to be, and not specifically which one specifically you are, because you don't want to be defined by don't want to be defined by it. I get it, but you couldn't not appear gay, more gay, mate. You do come across as quite gay. I know it's preaching to the choir to say there's nothing wrong with it. You don't need to be told there's nothing wrong with it. It's just weirdly hard by saying queer because you don't want to be defined by it. Makes it harder to not be defined by it. It makes us not talk about it.
Now, you two, if you don't mind, there is a great big university coming, and I've got to get going. So off you pop.
Off you
You're the old man, you're older than me.
Actually, that is true. He's younger because you came after him, so.
Okay.
Okay.
I love you. Get out.
I'm not doing that again.
Dun 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 dun. And there we go. New Doctor.
Stand by.
Great way to reboot the show.
Everywhere.
Good. And there it is. This is where the Doctor's been from now. By the way, this kind of plays a bit with Rose, because when we saw the first of these special, when we saw the Star Beast, and we saw that little bit breaking fourth wall moment of introducing where things have gone so far, and they showed that little clip of Rose, I thought, wow, they had her dress up all that they had her get all dressed up like that just for that one few second clip. Seems like a bit of a waste. Then I saw this, like, now it makes sense. That's what it was for.
You will marry me.
Oh, talked over his.
Is it true though? Is it true? Because going as hard as any
Oh, I completely talked over his story, which obviously I can't remember the name of the aliens now, but the fact that it all connects back to Spearhead from Space. He mentioned those aliens in Spearhead from Space that communicate with their eyebrows.
He took me to New York last week. The Gilded Age. It was amazing.
Turned down my favourite niece.
Please.
But so he's not completely settled down, though, because he is obviously still travelling in the TARDIS.
Oh, I have barely begun.
And mad auntie.
Well, that was kind of intriguing. He said, my niece. It's this
Don't worry, I gave them all sports field. There's nothing wrong.
brother and called Sean his brother-in-law, so he's now
But here we are.
Donna's brother? And Wilf is shooting moles.
Oh my god, you got it wrong. The eagle one is in the flowers.
What? Amazing.
Well, you obviously didn't notice.
Do you miss it? Out there?
Well, he already did some travelling, clearly, so... I mean, I get the idea if they were doing recovery in reverse, but... Actually, no, I don't get it. Doesn't quite make sense. But the end of one adventure, now the beginning of the new one. Shooty now is the Doctor. whether you like it or not. And from what I see right now, yep, I'm loving it. Destination Christmas, where we're gonna have the goblins. So that was the Giggle. I have been Doctor Who commentator. I'm also a regular contributor to the Omega Files on the Doctor Freedom YouTube channel, and hope you enjoyed listening to this. And I'll see you somewhere around Boxing Day, I suppose. That's pretty much. Am I gonna? Yeah, maybe Christmas. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna want to rest. The point is, I'll see you again for the Christmas special. And it's a bit annoying that these credits are much longer now, because now I have to keep talking until we're done. But we will finish. We will finish. Goodbye.